Guys, welcome to Real Talk. My name is Jerry Miller. We are live on the I Love CVille Network in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. We're presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Keith Smith, the executive producer of the show, good friend of the program. I'll tell you what, man, you come into this show often with some treats. You call this a treat? Is that what you call it?
I call it good, is what I call it.
This is from MarieBette.
MarieBette, yeah.
It's a king cake.
King cake, yeah. It's a tradition. Those who don't know the tradition of a king cake, is usually around Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve time, New Year time. And what they'll do is they'll have a cake, and there's a little ceramic figurine that's placed somewhere in the middle of that, and everybody gets together and has as a slice, and whoever finds the figurine is the king for the year. Well, you found the figurine this year, so therefore you're the king for 2021.
I love it. It's delicious, Keith.
You just got to be a little careful because that figurine still might be in there.
It's in there? No, it's not.
No.
So good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm excited about today. Today's going to be a fun day. We're gonna do a little bit of a first reveal, to use a wedding thing of a brick mill, the subdivision on Brook Hill. Excuse me. Thank you for keeping me straight. Up on 29 North, and it kind of came up in some previous shows about what's coming on and projects that are going to new construction in particular, and through my Rolodex, I was able to try to connect with some of the folks over there at Stanley Martin and Riverbend and find out what exactly is their release dates and what product they're doing. So I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about that. And
so let's do this. Why don't we set, for those that are not in the game as much,
that's exactly
let's just set an area of where it's at first.
Well, that's funny because that was the first slide I was going to do this morning, and I actually kicked it out and didn't do it.
Okay.
So,
because I think a lot of people don't know where this is.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So we'll describe it. So if those who are familiar with Charlottesville and Albemarle County, so 29 North, as you're going up towards the airport and up towards Target in that area up over there. So it's just before, as you're going on 29 North from downtown area, just as you cross the river, there's Polo Ground Road. So it's about 200 and something acres subdivision. It's 1,550 homes, residential units, which is quite a big. So it borders the location. It's on 29 North. It's right off of 29. It's easy to get up to D.C. if you want to go up to D.C., easy to go down into Charlottesville, depending on the traffic, of course. But that's the location. And I was doing some homework on this earlier this morning over the weekend. I actually pulled the zoning application, which was submitted on June 15th of 2015. And I just happened to know there was about a year and a half of work in that before it was actually submitted. And we've been talking about this on the show quite a bit about green tape and red tape, and so I kind of wanted to chat with you a little bit about it because you're a branding and marketing guy. Just to kind of think about, so this is Riverbend, this is Capshore's folks organization. They started their work about mid-13, somewhere around there. Yeah. And when we get to a little bit later on it, they're finally going to be putting product in the ground, homes in the ground, by the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. So by my math, that's about 8 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And that's just ridiculously long. Yeah. And
especially for a guy like Corin Capshaw, who you can make an argument is legitimately one of the most influential and powerful and connected guys in the community.
Well,
I mean, if someone's going to be able to make it go faster, it would be him.
But you're in and I was thinking about this on the way in. You're in a branding and marketing business, right?
One of our businesses. Yeah.
What if I walked into you and said, "Look, I got this business plan and this is what I want to do, but I'm not going to be able to put the product out until 8 or 9 years from now." How do you do that from a branding and marketing perspective? But the other issue is because of the length of time, it limits who can do this.
Sure.
You have to have substantially deep pockets to go ahead and do it. So I just, somehow or another, I know Neil Neil Williamson's been pushing this for quite some time. I've been pushing it between the chamber and the commission that I sit on. That somehow or another we've got to figure out how to get that a little shorter. look, there has to be a process, right? We have to go through processes. There has to be things like, for one of the neat things about this project, Brook Hill, a lot of people may not know this, but they actually built little tunnels under. You know about this, right?
I do.
About the salamanders.
Yeah.
So they built these animal tunnels on the Polo Grounds Road. So because I guess it's twice a year, these salamanders migrate from different parts into the river area, and that's just really cool, a cool thing. But man, how do you sustain 8 to 9 years before you can put a product in the ground? And in the beginning, in 13 and 14, when they're submitting it, they have to have all their vision done. They have to predict what 2021's housing market's going to be.
Which is impossible, right? We have a hard time predicting what next year.
Or tomorrow.
Or, yeah, especially in COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I just thought that would be like a really great kickoff for the show. I don't want to geek out in my recovering builder-developer brain, but, at the end of the day, somehow or another, if we're going to turn around this inventory thing that we've been talking about for quite some time, we've got to change that from 6 to 10 years to at least 2. There's a reason why folks are going the other side of the mountain, because that 6 to 8 years is 2, right? Between acquisition, right? Putting all your assemblage together,
sure.
Getting rezoning, developing, getting your capital, getting rezoning, and putting product in the ground. It's closer to 2 years than it is 8 years.
Who are the players in Brook Hill?
So the players in Brook Hill, the developer is Riverbend.
Yeah.
The one that I know well is Stanley Martin, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that, and I think, Judah, while we're chatting, if you wouldn't mind rolling some of those Brook Hill pictures around, I sure would appreciate it. So what we're going to talk a little bit about now is what product Stanley Martin is going to bring into Brookmill, and they're going to be bringing them in the end of this year. So they basically got 2 product types, okay, homes. It's going to be really difficult for us to explain this, and Judah's kind of bouncing through the pictures as we're talking. They're doing what they call an over-under condo.
Okay.
Hard thing to explain.
Over-under condo.
Yeah. So I think when Judah gets through that, you'll see a picture that kind of looks like it's slide 6, by the way, Judah. It looks like a townhome. But what it really is a 4-story condo. So what they do is they have a 2-story unit on the lower level and a 2-story unit on the upper level. And these units, they have garages in the back, so you would have your garage. So let's say I'm on the lower level and you're on the upper level because I'm old. I want to be on the lower level on those units. And so what would happen is we'd park into both of our garages, and one set of stairs would end up going up to your unit, and one set of stairs would end up going into my unit. But they're going to be starting them off in about the mid 200s, and they're going to be starting them in July of this year. So, and they're going to be about roughly 142 of those that we're going to be doing in their first phase. And then there's going to be these villas, which there's going to be 85 of them. And a villa is basically a single family attached product, single level kind of thing, and they're attached. So there's like 3 together, 4 together, 5 together, something along those lines on that end of it. So it's coming. It's taken 8 years. There's if you guys want to try to get on some sort of VIP list as far as information goes, there's a link for it. You can reach out to us on that, and we'll be more than happy to provide a link. It's a Stanley Martin link and to get on the VIP. But I just wanted to kind of kick the show off talking a little bit about what these guys are finally bringing into the market.
That part is how it needs it.
Well, Albemarle County is focused on that as its growth
Sure.
area, right? And the part of the downside of it is it's only, as you talked about numerous times, it's only 5% growth area. That kind of needs to grow a little bit.
Yeah.
And but
unless they want to keep home prices going up and getting taxes from a small base of people. I mean, what they're doing right now is phenomenal for people who own homes in Albemarle County by saying only 5% of the county can be developed. And of that 5%, Susan Steinmart, your colleague at the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust, said, look, not only of that 5%, but then you have to take like the commercials in that 5%. So it's not just homes in that 5%. So it's such a small sliver of that 5 is actual residential.
That's exactly right. And I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty
small.
Pretty small, yeah.
Yeah. The questions that I have for you is, layman, you're the expert. Layman, you're the expert.
I wouldn't say that, but go ahead.
You're about to create a lot of density here.
There's 1,550 units. Now, keep in mind, like 300 of them are the apartments that are already being built.
But still a lot of density.
Yeah.
Ice park. A skating rink.
Yep.
For those that, missed the skating rink on the mall, a skating rink for Brook Hill. Am I right there?
You're 100% right.
How are the roads going to accommodate the infrastructure, this kind of density? Because it's the same conversation that was had. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Rivanna Village and Breezy Hill.
Sure.
Ryan Holmes and Southern Development.
Sure.
When Ryan and Charlie and Frank tried to make some massive density on 250, and Glenmore revolted, and Rivanna Village came to fruition, but Breezy Hill did not.
Yeah.
So that kind of reminds me of this. What are your thoughts? Because Fuller Grounds is not a wide road.
Yeah, but the entrance, the primary
Wouldn't be
entrance
there.
is
Yeah.
if you take a look at it, the primary entrance is on 29. And so what you just articulated is why it took 8 years.
Yeah.
So that whole process has happened from, the first submittal, like I said, was in June of 15. It didn't get through the approval process until the end of 16 on that. And then that's just the rezoning end of it. And the rezoning end of it takes into the density, takes into the traffic, it takes in all those impacts are all gone through that. And that took that period of time. And then as far as the technical end of it, once it's rezoned, I had a conversation with a board of supervisors in an adjoining county yesterday on a project that was approved probably the end of last year. And he was like, well, how come you haven't built yet? How come the developer hasn't built yet? Because we're going through the site plan process. So between the end of 16 until now is the whole site plan process before they were able to actually go and put a bulldozer in the ground. And not now, probably the beginning of 2020 is when the actual bulldozing and the pushing of dirt actually happened. But it took from the end of 16 to the beginning of 20 to go through DEQ, to go through all the VDOT, to go through all that stuff. So some even the elected officials don't quite understand this process.
Let me ask you this question. So outside of, say, the big box builders, and Stanley Martin is a big box builder. Stanley Martin is owned by the Japanese.
That's correct.
Okay. Ryan Holmes is a big box builder.
Difference between Stanley Martin and Ryan, just to interrupt you there for a second. Stanley Martin does its own development.
Okay.
So it's a package. It does its own development. It does its own vertical. So in our line, in that line of work, it's called horizontal and vertical.
Okay.
Right. Ryan does not.
And I would also say the level of craftsmanship.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Okay, fine.
I'm not gonna.
We'll leave that aside.
Okay.
Okay. So you have Stanley. You have Ryan. What other big box developers
So Frank,
in the area?
you mentioned Frank. Frank is
Southern
development.
Southern's local.
Local and Southern is a unique. They're a hybrid. Sometimes they just do development, and sometimes they develop and build, and then sometimes they just build, right? So where they're a hybrid, kind of between the Stanley Martin model and the Ryan model. But I think the point you're trying to make, maybe our chemistry is working here, or the coffee anyway, is because of the time and the trouble. Keith Smith can't even if we in 2008 and 2010 we didn't lose everything we had. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so that's the point I am trying to make.
Yeah.
Who locally besides Core and Capshaw?
Yeah,
Southern, obviously.
There's a bunch of guys and gals and stuff. Chris Henry would be one.
Stony Point
one. But you can count them on one hand, right? And that's kind of where if this green tape happens, you'll get a little bit more. You get more players in the field, right? You know, you can't look just to get to this. Would you to this project? Would you want to take a gander on how much that costs just to get there? I'm talking about the paperwork and the planning and the traffic impacts and all that stuff.
How much? I have no idea.
It's just south of a mill. That's not including the acquisition of the land, you know, so forth and so on. It's a tremendous amount of capital required. And oh, by the way, you may not get it. Because at the end of the day, a rezoning is a political process. You can meet the comprehensive plan, the spirit of the comprehensive plan. You can meet everything like that, but at the end of the day, it's a political process, and that's why the rezoning and the site plan are two different paths. The rezoning is a pure political process, right? You know, and it's depending on the jurisdiction. There's boxes and forms but you can check everything perfectly. But if you don't get the votes at the Board of Supervisor or the City Council level.
And that's why you've seen a lot of people in the city, developer-wise, just go with buy right, as opposed to try to do some kind of semblance of affordable, because they needed a change in zoning to do the affordable. And they didn't get it because, what's the phrase? Perfect is the enemy of productivity.
When we talk to our next segment of the show, Yonna and I's 7 rules of life. That's one of them, right? Don't overthink it. I think you say that to me all the time.
Paralysis of analysis.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that was happening, at least in this, round of council, is the perfection was wanted.
Yeah, but I've been doing this for 35 years.
You're saying that's the norm.
That's the norm. So I can't talk about specifics, but there's a project that may happen
that's unfortunate.
In the Zions
That's
Crossing.
the norm.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's not
Why do you think I look like this?
Right. Well, because you and I both know that's not how life is.
No, well, in the development world, that's
or in any world. Yeah.
But you're on to something there. So and unfortunately, so what I do to make a living every day, general real estate, at the end of the day, it's an education thing. We educate buyers, we educate sellers, and that's what we're doing here. This is really no different. It's just a very expensive education process for both sides. They're educating the general public, they're educating the planners, they're educating the Board of Supervisors, the City Council, and it's coming back the other way. They're educating them because maybe they're looking at it a little bit differently than that. And the process is a good process, right, overall. The problem is it's too long. And the problem with too long is you're exactly right. Your perfection, you want to get it perfect, right, throws the good out. So I'll tell you, as far as the county, and I might get myself in a ton of trouble by saying what I'm about ready to say. So as far as the local jurisdictions are concerned, it's not perfect. They're afraid to make a mistake.
What does that mean?
I approve something that doesn't happen, or somebody says they're going to do something and doesn't do it, right? But they're just afraid. This is just think about the local folks, the local city council, board of supervisors, staff, and all that stuff. This is a big project, right? And they're all got master's degrees. They're all super smart, but at some level, this takes a leap of faith. Right? It's like any contract, right? The real estate contract that you and I are going to do on buying Judah's house. At some level, the paperwork can say the paperwork, but this is a leap of faith. We have to. A real estate a contract of any sort is only as good as the two entities that are in it.
Yeah,
and you know that you've
sure,
done enough deals.
Of course.
But there is it's a leap, and in fairness to the city and the counties. These guys, I think, did it right. Frank does it right. Chris Henry does it right, in my opinion. Not so many of them do, though, right? And they're worried about getting screwed. They're worried about somebody doing something that they shouldn't do. So the process needs to be there. I will tell you, Fluvanna County is one of the unique counties in this jurisdiction. They actually have about Now, once you get through preparing all this, which takes months and months and months and months, but once you submit it, once you hit that submittal date, you'll know pretty much within 3 months if you got a deal or not. Not being dragged out for years out. So, they adopted a program, which is, hats off to them that they've done that. Now, you have to do all this, you have to check all these boxes, but it doesn't get drag out for years and years and years. There's a project coming up I can't give too much details on it, but there's a large parcel of land in the Zions Crossroads area that would not have this amount of number, but it would be a substantial project in the many hundreds of same thing with square footage. And there's a very distinct possibility it might go by right and end up with like 100 lots. And, to me, that would be a travesty. You would take a large tract of land in the primary development area that this particular jurisdiction says I want it to be at, and if we can't work together on it, at some point in time, they can't spend this money any longer. They have to make a business decision.
Developers.
That's exactly right. And then what's going to happen is it's going to go from 450 or whatever the number is at 200,000. Right, just to pick a number.
To a bunch of single families at 1.5 times that price.
$500,000 or not. That's exactly right. So again, perfection getting in the way. I didn't really want to get too much into detail in the weeds on it. I can do that pretty quickly on this. What I really wanted to achieve today was everybody was asking me, when is new product coming in? You got new product coming in. And you got product coming in about the $200,000 price range, low, mid twos, somewhere along those lines. 29 North. Got a garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, new construction. The villas will be around 300,000, plus or minus. Same kind of scenario: garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So that is kind of a new construction sweet spot. If you start talking about where new construction is going on in Albemarle County, we talked about this on Tuesday. It's in the 6s, right? So this is.
What's the time frame coming online right now? People are asking.
Yeah, so the condos, the over-under condos would start in July of this year.
Mm-hmm. The construction starts.
Yeah, construction starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, we're talking next year for this product.
Oh no, they'll deliver them.
The condos by close of business 2021.
Yeah. It won't, once they put foundations in the ground, it won't take very long.
Okay. So some new product. How about
the villas?
Yeah.
Villas are going to probably be a 2020. I got to get my years right. 2022 start.
2022 start?
Yeah, probably 2022.
So 2023 deliver?
Yeah, so if you ever take a time to go out there, which I would encourage you to do that, they've already built the
This is close to Profit Ridge.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I know exactly where this is.
So they've already built the apartments, and and if you take a look, I don't know which slide it is. If you do slide 5, Judah, please. So they're starting in off of the Profit Ridge.
You said 5.
5, I apologize.
Is that from earlier this week?
No, the ones I sent today. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not a big deal. So what they'll do is they'll come in off of Profit Ridge, and that's where they'll start developing in it. But this is only.
You know what I would do is, with this coming, with an ice park coming, and guys, this is right on the county line. This is on the green Albemarle line, north of town. I mean, it's a little bit in. It's a little bit. It's pretty close to the line. It's close to the line.
Well, okay. I won't argue. For the sake of a talk show, I won't argue with you.
I would be trying to scoop something up right over the green line.
Well, that's a great thing.
Right over the green line. Because I think you can get that for pennies on the dollar compared to Albemarle. And the Albemarle boom is going to create ROI for the green property.
So the problem with that, great thinking.
Sure. Yeah, I want to hear.
The downside to that is they're struggling with their water.
Green?
Yep.
Okay.
And they're struggling with their Wi-Fi.
Green struggling with their Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So their broadband. Remember, we've been talking about that. So broadband, they're ramping it up, but they're so far behind Nelson in Fluvanna County, which is making this commitment. So actually, I disagree with you a little bit. I think you're going to see it going
to Nelson.
Well, even Nelson, Fluvanna, Louisa, in that areas.
Because you could make an argument that green in a home there is right now has way more amenities
Oh, yeah.
than Fluvanna and Nelson, and is closer to Charlottesville.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm just talking about from a new development, from a market perspective. Absolutely. Look, the premise of what we're trying to do today is trying to let folks know inventory is coming.
Sure.
Right. So
It's just a few years down the road.
Because it takes 8 years.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the problem is, even in Greene County or whatever, if you've got to have staying power.
Sure.
To get, and you're going to have enough vision. You know what. You know, these guys have whatever gazillions of dollars
Sure.
invested in that.
Yeah.
What if we didn't have? What if in March the real estate didn't go up?
What do you mean?
Well, real estate's been strong since the beginning of COVID. What if COVID came along and killed the real estate market?
You're saying what would it have done to that project?
That's exactly right.
Well, they probably would have pivoted the project in some capacity.
Can't.
So they would have. You don't think they would have stalled the project somehow?
Well, stalled is one thing.
Stalled.
Pivot is something else.
Okay, you're right. You're right. That's true.
Because they would have to change this plan. They got to go through that whole process all over
They
again.
probably would have stalled it.
Well, yeah, but for how long?
Touche.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
I'm living proof of that. Right? You know.
Well, I mean, you're seeing with like, here's a good example: is we love Dairy Market. Mm-hmm. One of the sponsors of the show.
Yeah, totally.
With COVID, they slowed the rollout a little bit. With the grand opening.
Sure.
I think with something like this, fortunately, we're not in that situation.
We are not.
Fortunately, we're in the situation where we're craving it.
We're
so
craving.
They probably can't roll it out fast enough.
They cannot.
The only thing that they're fearful of is by the time the villas roll out, has the market changed?
Yeah.
And I don't think it will.
No. I just read this morning the 30-year interest rate dropped below 2.6.
No, it's crazy.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Right. So it is not this, unless, God forbid, it's just that the inventory is so anemic.
Okay, so what do we do between now and new construction coming on the market?
So that's a great question. Maybe we should save that for a talk show or something.
Because it looks like we have a little bit of an 18-month issue here.
Well, but that's only 100-something units, 200 units, 300 units. Look, we do what we've been doing. If you want to sell, now's the time to sell, right? You can't get any better time to sell. And we've been talking about this. This is so unique. Normally, and some of my fellow realtors may agree or disagree with me here, but in the 35 years I've been doing this, I've never seen we have both sides cranking at the same time.
Sure, buyers and sellers.
It's
all three sides, because you also got interest rates very optimized and opportune.
Yeah, but that's kind of in the middle there.
Sure,
But that's the point I'm trying to
There's
make.
a lot of things working in favor, right? Is that what you're saying? All things are working together.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
Ooh, chemistry's
What
not
are you
working.
saying?
What I'm trying to say is under normal circumstances when and it's because of the interest rates, when it's a seller's market, which it clearly is, right? We're nowhere near a changing from a seller's to a buyer's market.
Sure.
We days on markets just got away a long time ago. But on the other hand, the buyers have a little bit of strength because of this, not a little bit, a ton of
the interest
strength.
rates are low.
Because the interest
purchasing
rates.
power.
And I don't think I've ever seen that. Right, and normally, it starts going this. If buyers are in control,
And you can also make a legitimate argument that the buyer has potentially even more disposable income than he or she has ever had. Perhaps they got a couple of rounds of stimulus. Keith, also perhaps they've stayed inside, not gone to happy hour restaurants, done the drinking at the vineyards and the breweries, so they have more savings.
I can tell you, our bank account's a lot stronger.
Well, everybody. Well, not every. I don't want to say everybody. A lot of people's, right? So not only is the interest rate with the purchasing power, but they got more money they ever had. And on top of that, you can make a legitimate argument if you're able to work from an ISP and earn a big city salary, you can really bring down your cost of living by coming down here.
I was on the phone with our dear friend Greg Slater on another project, on a deal that he and I are doing. On a new construction build. He's representing one side, I'm representing the other side. And it's interesting, we were having that conversation after the call was over, that so many of our clients are now just working from home. And you're also starting to see the change, right? Right, it used to be up until, and it's just trend has been starting. This is not a COVID thing. If we look at the data, it's like an 18-19 thing has been starting. But prior to that, everybody was downsizing, right? Now it's going the other direction.
Of course.
And I guess it goes back to this, right? So I'm trying to design lots and homes in 2015.
And maybe they're too small.
And maybe they're too small. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you got to catch it. The amount of things you got to catch right. You know, talk about
It's a crapshoot.
Talk about going to Vegas, right?
I mean, can you imagine the person that is working in a big city,
I'm going to eat my stuff here.
working in a big city, Keith, but can come down to
I'm
Charlottesville,
supposed to pay attention, not eat.
working in a big city, but can come down to Charlottesville,
Yeah, sure.
does not have to get in their car to commute and drive places,
Sure.
is saving the money on the gasoline and the fuel and the wear and tear of the car,
Sure.
is not going out at lunch
Yep.
and having a $15 meal with their coworkers.
Oh, they pick a $30,000 Bolt up, Chevy Bolt, which I'm looking at personally.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yonna.
No gas. No $15 lunches.
Uh-huh.
You got an extra hour a day because you don't have to commute. You're living it in Charlottesville. I mean, that particular family is sitting on paper right now. And put this in perspective. You know, I was in Southampton, Long Island, and I got bagels for the family.
How were they? Oh, stop.
I mean, they're amazing.
Well, so what? So
Goldberg's.
oh, Goldberg's.
You know Goldberg's?
No, but if it's
Yeah.
Jewish, it must be good.
It's Goldberg. It's amazing. Okay, so a dozen bagels and a tub of vegetable cream cheese, the big one,
Oh yeah, good for you.
for the
man.
family. $52.
Yeah, yeah.
A dozen bagels and a tub of vegetable cream cheese at Bodo's? What?
Oh God,
Half that?
not even that.
Not even that.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm trying to explain to my.
I'd say a quarter of that. If Michael Guthrie's running, he knows. He goes there every
What's a
morning.
tub? Anybody watching? What's a tub of vegetable cream cheese and a dozen bagels at
Yeah.
Bodo's?
I don't think I've ever walked out of there spending any more than $25.
Okay,
you know,
so in
buying-
Southampton on Long Island, it's $52.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to explain to my in-laws that $1 in Southampton
Oh,
is
without doubt.
is $1.75 here.
Oh, without doubt.
You know, and then they could sell their place,
Sure.
get something bigger.
You know any good realtors up there?
I do-
down here?
You would be the first I would, along with the New York Times, they would love you. Okay?
We speak the same language.
I mean, how many people are doing that is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? How many people are doing
It's a
that?
ton of it, but it's nothing new.
It seems to be amplified.
That's because you're in the world now. You're
You
in this
think?
market. Absolutely. It was the same thing in the 80s and the 90s. We were building 20, 30 houses a year, and every one of them had a funny accent.
This is at Lake Monticello.
I don't care, but they were still coming down.
This is at Lake Monticello is the epicenter of New Yorkers. We
Of
know
course.
that.
Well, because not the
Well,
epicenter.
why do they put the gates at Lake Monticello?
Keep the Yankees out.
Yeah, you taught me that. I know that. I know that. 12 bagels,
Actually,
a tub
keep
of
the
cream cheese, and 4 breakfast sandwiches. There are also many sizes of tubs in New York. Okay, so my wife is trying to say here.
No, she's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling out, because I wasn't going to say anything about that.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, there's a tub, and then there's a tub.
Yeah. Okay, she made a good point there. Their tub is bigger than the tub you can get at Boats.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean the tub you guys do up there is like
No, it's a court.
it's like a bucket.
It's a court.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's a court.
Yeah. They don't have those down here. Another thing they don't
Well,
have.
you can. You just got to buy a bunch of them and put them together.
Dude, another thing they don't have here is why don't they have the freaking deli?
You know.
You know what I'm talking about?
So
Obviously, you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking about, and I miss them tremendously. And look, the bottom line, it's a density thing. It's a volume.
Is that why?
Do you remember? Does anybody here remember the Jewish Mother deli down here? Oh God.
Where was the Jewish mother?
Oh God, it was in.
There was a Jewish mother in Williamsburg. I wonder if that was the sister restaurant
It's
of
the
the
same
one
thing.
here.
It was
Okay.
there was one in that, and I can't remember where it was. To be honest with you, I was on the downtown mall actually.
The Jewish mother was on the downtown mall?
Yeah, and I can't remember what year that was. Like 90 something.
And it was a deli.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. It was great.
Like a Brooklyn deli.
Well, it's a kind of like a local chain kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
But what was it? What was the one? The Nosh?
Modern Nosh.
Modern Nosh?
Explain to them what a quintessential deli should look like, because they're all over where he's from and where my wife is from.
I don't know. My mouth is watering just thinking
Keith, they
about
are amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You have the pre-made stuff. You can
Yeah.
get the sandwiches,
Oh,
the
yeah.
grab and goes. We don't have that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Someone could kill it with that down here.
But they've tried, and it's just not enough. So there was an Italian deli right across from the mall for years, and they just couldn't make it. Like it was like
On Fashion Square Ball?
yeah. So
Is that the new deli?
where the beverage tractor is now.
Tractor Supply Plus?
No. So
Someone help us out here,
the
Facebook
putting-
that's watching
the
here.
putting place.
Oh, yeah.
So to the
Wendell Wood's brother owns that putting place.
So to the left of the putting places, I'm going towards 29, used to be an Italian deli. And I know that because we used to go there, and they used to ship stuff down from New York. They used to ship bagels down, real salami and real not real, but, all this kind of stuff. And it just, they did it for a few years, and they just couldn't make it because you just couldn't turn the dollars, right? It just is not enough volume. There's not enough people to go ahead and do that. They tried to do that at Lake Monticello a couple of times up over there, figuring, hey, I got 14.
So 4,000 Yankees.
I got 4,000 Yankees.
New York Jews over there. But
What did you just say?
I was going to say, there's a lot of Jewish New Yorkers at Lake Monticello. Isn't that fair to say? That is
I
fair
don't
to
know.
say.
I never walk up to anybody and say, hey, what are you? But their
So that
accent.
deli did not work?
It did not work. It's just the volume of it. At one point in time, I was thinking about doing it, and I figured out what the math was, that the amount of sandwiches you needed to sell a day, and that's the thing. So look,
Neil Williamson is Lauren. If you could put that text message into the feed because we're using the computers, the phones for Instagram. She's got something she wants to send to you. Neil Williamson is putting a link into the Jewish Mother,
That's right.
Virginia Beach. But Neil, isn't the Jewish Mother Virginia Beach a nightclub? I think that's a nightclub, Neil, and not a deli. I may be wrong on that, Neil. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. We just don't have a good deli.
So actually, to be honest with you, the best deli that I found in here,
Tell me.
Food of All Nations.
That's a good deli.
Yeah. That is about as close.
That's more of a grocery. That's a deli in a grocery.
But if you go back in the deli sandwich section, that's about it. And it's a lifestyle thing. It's like the Seinfeld Soups Nazi skit, right? It's just you have a neighborhood that in a few block radius has more people that lives in Charlottesville, right? And I when I grew up on the corner.
Yonna says it was on Rio Road.
Well, that wasn't that. That was the Italian deli, but the Jewish Mother was on the downtown mall. I remember it. I just can't remember exactly where it is.
Yeah, help us out, social media. Help us out, Facebook. Help us out, Instagram. We'll get to these comments here on IG. The deli hit a spot right here. People would like the conversation on the deli.
Well, it's a deli. It's food. We're eating food. We're drinking coffee. Yeah, you'd walk into the deli. It's like an attitude. You got the guys and the gals behind there.
Got to move quickly. There's people behind you. They're on your lunch break.
You got to know.
You know your order.
You got to and it's a thing, right? If you walk in there, if you don't know what you want and you're trying to decide.
The New York delis are often tight on space, so there's
very
like a buzz in there in the air.
And you better walk in. You better know the language, what you want.
The other
how you
concept
want
is, are you not
and,
shocked?
and oh, by the way, if they do it wrong, it's totally allowed to yell at them. Really? Are you freaking kidding me? Do better.
You get a good soup, you get a good sandwich, you got some chicken Caesar salad.
If Yonna's watching, for about a couple of months before we came down here, we lived in Massapequa on Sunrise, on Division Avenue, and there was an Italian deli across the corner, and you would get, we call them heroes back home, but you'd get an Italian hero that was about 1.5 feet long and about that thick.
Yeah.
It was like $5.
That's another thing my wife says about this area. My wife's in New York, and you and my wife had a lot in common. When I'm talking to you oftentimes, I'm like, this is Tim. Like my wife's dad, you guys are like synonymous here. Both I think he's from Massapequa.
Yeah, so we lived a few months in Massapequa.
Is he from Massapequa, Lauren? I think he's from Massapequa. Anyway, long story short.
Harry Tyson, my son-in-law, is chiming in.
A lot of people are chiming in now because this is a topic that's relatable to everybody. Keith Smith, Yes Team Realtors. Keith Smith, Yes Team Realtors.
I wanted to talk high-level 7 rules of life, and we're talking about freaking sandwiches.
My wife always makes the comment that she can't find...
Did you load up your alcohol yet?
She can't find the super thick one.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know.
With the sandwich.
Yeah, if you were to get a sandwich that you would get here, up there, you just like, really, and just hand it back. But you get like a pastrami on rye.
Yeah.
Pastrami on rye, you you can't. There's no way you can physically get your mouth.
Your
around.
wife says best heroes ever.
Yeah, so that's what we used to do. I mean, that was a dinner. You get a thing of Italian wedding soup and an Italian thing, and you'd have a meal for 2 days.
Yeah, that's what my wife says. Harry Tyson, the town I grew up in, Manhasset, Long Island.
No, try it again.
Manhasset.
There you go, Manhasset.
Manhasset, Long Island. Had 4 delis on the same main road, about a quarter mile long, and they all made money. So Harry, his son-in-law, Harry's good people, the town he grew up in, Long Island, had 4 delis on the same main road,
Look at
about
that.
a quarter mile long, and they all made money.
And they all well, back in the day, it was all cash too.
Yeah.
All cash.
Right.
You didn't walk up with anything but cash.
Hello, Quentin Beckham. Welcome to the program, my friend. Good to see you,
that'd be
QB.
$1 for the IRS, $2 for me.
No, that's what I was
$1
going to say. You went under the mattress, dude.
Could be. Never know.
That's how they all made money, is because it was all cash.
And it was all veto.
Right. That was funny.
There's no funny about it. It was true.
I mean,
It's funny. Talk about funny. I was talking to Joe Gentile yesterday.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he called me the other day. He's just like really struggling, just because New Yorkers are like
There's human connection. They want to see people, especially him.
Big time.
So Joe Gentile is Pearl Certification.
Yeah, one of our sponsors.
He and his family are potting with another family and not
Exactly
seeing
right.
anyone else.
So I don't know, just out of the blue, I called him yesterday. I said, "Hey, man, my birthday's coming up. I'm going to do some Nessabuco, right? We're going to make some, if you know what that is."
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your recipe? So we are 2 dudes, right? I was
On Zoom.
On Zoom.
Talking.
Literally, that's what we're doing. Business, So how do you do it? And we come to the conclusion at the end of the
That
conversation
neither of you should cook?
neither of us should cook that. No, we're a great cook.
I know you're a good cook.
We're good
Yeah.
cooks. Because if you don't make that right, and then he started, I think we were on the phone for an hour. He was talking about this place in New York where you go get it and they actually give you a marrow spoon with it. So if you ever really had it really done well, it's.
Do you have Joe Gentile's turkey from Thanksgiving you can put on screen? I know I'm putting you on the spot here. You don't have to do that if you don't.
By the way, Harry, thank you for watching. I know you're a busy
Harry's
man.
good people. I love when Harry's in Connecticut.
He's in Connecticut.
Watching the program
and
now.
soon to be a father again real quickly.
Wait, that's news to me?
Well, my youngest daughter's been pregnant for almost 9 months now, so we will have a new daughter officially on the 26th. I think we're going to get a new granddaughter.
Okay.
But who knows? Might come earlier. But yeah,
Congratulations.
we are super excited about it. It sucks with this COVID crap, but we're super excited about it. We will. I won't take away the thunder from Harry and whoever about naming and all that stuff. But when the baby's born, we'll give him an opportunity to chat about that a little bit.
Quentin Beckham's got a joke, I think, for us here. He says, so we have Joe Gentile's turkey. Should we show him?
Then the joke.
Yeah. So Joseph Gentile, who he was just talking about, is a Brooklyn, just a great guy from Brooklyn.
No. He's from, I can't remember, on Long Island. I think he's a Hicksville guy, but I can't remember.
Show him, this is his Thanksgiving turkey. Look at the screen now. This is what he made. And here's Quentin Beckham's joke. Quentin Beckham always has a quick joke right there.
I don't know. Hold time before he does that. He texted me this morning and said he had a really busy day and didn't have time to watch the show.
He says I think the next time you have a restaurateur on the show, you should talk about real estate with them. I think he's basically saying, there's a real estate guy here and we're talking about food over here. So that was a zing.
I'm sponsoring the show. Let's talk about real estate.
Quentin Beckham says, I think that's basically QB saying, get to real estate efforts. That's what he's saying right there.
I'm just thinking out loud that maybe that should be turned into a sizzle reel.
It's his oldest daughter, by the way. I knew that, Harry. I didn't want to correct your father-in-law.
Oh, did I say youngest?
Yeah, I didn't want to
youngest?
correct your father-in-law, Harry Tyson, but I knew that it was the oldest daughter and not the youngest daughter. I did know that. Carol Thorpe says the Port Deli in hometown of Port, Washington. She's a huge fan of that deli.
What town?
She said the Port Deli in hometown of Port, Washington. Or no, excuse me, Port Washington.
Port Washington.
Yeah, Port
Got
Washington.
it. Got it.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on here.
I wanted to get to my 7 rules of life, but
We should get to the 7 rules of life.
But sandwiches in New York and a little bit of real estate
Our
and,
religion. A sandwich in New York is a religion.
food.
Yeah. Right?
But it's a little different, The Europeans kind of slow down to eat. New Yorkers love to eat, but we're eating and we're always moving. That kind of
me
stuff.
too.
But yeah, it was. But it's funny. I when I go up there, our oldest daughter, always asks us to bring up Bodo's bagels. I actually happen to think they're better than some of the bagels I've gotten back home. Just saying.
I mean, that's the other thing I was going to say. I'm sorry, Quentin Beckham. I'm about to bring this up. I apologize, Quentin Beckham.
We're not talking real estate. We're talking food, so.
Are you not shocked? And I know there have been competitors. But are you not shocked that there is not anybody trying to go after Bodo's piece of pie? How is that the only? I love Bodo's. You say something bad about Bodo's in this town, it's blasphemous. I love Bodo's. I love Bodo's. I love Bodo's. Are you not shocked that there's not a Bodo's competitor? I'm shocked.
Shock's a strong word. I'm surprised. But look. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
9 cameras?
No. Apple products.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what are you saying?
I
don't follow that.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is you don't see a lot of people, hey, the Apple phone is a great thing and Apple products are a great thing. How come there's not a lot?
You have Androids?
Yeah, but they're no way up to the number or level of sales and stuff that does it. I don't know. I just think there's going to be what I'm trying to say is it's really hard for somebody to come into town like this and do it right. Now, I think what surprises me even more than that.
3,000, there's 3 locations.
I understand that.
3,000 tickets a day, 1,000 each location.
Sure.
Average sales price, how much a ticket?
Probably $10.
That's probably conservative.
Yeah, I'm just doing easy
Let's
math.
say 10. Let's say 10.
Yeah.
So you're talking 30,000 a day in sales.
Yep.
How many days open a year? There's 365.
Let's call it 360 because they're not open every day.
Yeah,
but
say
they're open.
They're open a lot.
Yeah.
Say 360?
Yeah, say 360.
So 30,000 times 360.
So I know Quentin was supposed to talk real estate, and I apologize.
$11 million, Keith.
We'll get that. Yeah, okay. But you think about how much it costs them to do that stuff. Acquisition of place.
And they pay their employees well.
Oh, they pay their employees very well. But you know what?
$11 million gross a year.
So
bagels. That's a lot of dough. That's a lot of dough.
Unleavened dough. It surprises me nobody has tried to make a play for that. What shocks me is that they're not open in Harrisonburg next to JMU. Every time I walk in there, my brain starts going, okay, we need to franchise this. We need to grow this, right? How come this is
the same thing?
Yeah, how come this isn't in whatever, right?
William and Mary.
Every
JMU, Richmond, the Fan.
Every college town within a 2-hour driving radius of this, I'd have a freaking Bodo's.
Neil Williamson said there's Murphy's Bagels in Ruckersville, a distant competitor. Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Fund.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's right, and I've had them, and they're actually really good.
Oh, I know.
Really, really good, but
you just got to drive there.
You got to drive there.
Yeah, especially from where you're at. That's a long drive.
Well, I've been trying to find where Neil's living for years. I wander around trying to find out where Neil.
I just want Neil to come on the show.
That's how I was going. Neil, can you please come play with us? Please?
Neil, can you come play with us? Neil?
Can you please come play with us, Neil? He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do it.
Come play with us,
He
Neil.
don't play with us. He doesn't want to do it. I don't know. I think he's intimidated by our chemistry. What do you think?
Make us a lot smarter. Lloyd just walked by. Lloyd Snook just walked by.
Yeah.
All right, let's go real estate. And we're going to go long, so we're going to make QB happy over here. Let's keep going long. We can go long with you, Keith Smith. I love this. We're in a good spirits right here.
So, to go back to...
He was talking about new construction, guys. In the beginning of the show, if you're just tuning in, we have opportunities on the horizon with Brook Hill, just a little bit down the road.
But do we have any questions on the feed on new construction? That would be a good approach to get Mr. Beckham happy.
Harry Tyson says Bodo's gets the water from New York, right?
You know?
I think he's got a zing right there. Harry Tyson, you're cracking me up today. I don't think Bodo's is importing the water from New York, but I think your boy Harry Tyson was being sarcastic right there. 'Cause
No,
people
really?
say the water is what makes the bagels good in New York.
Well, what?
That's what my wife says. My wife's family. That's
Yeah.
what Harry said.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry says it.
No.
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 You hear him, Harry.
No. So you know what the difference between a Bodo's bagel and you get one from freaking whatever, Whole Foods or whatever?
Tell
You know
me.
what the difference is?
Fresh.
No.
Tell me.
It's how they cook them. They kettle boil them. That's the real New York thing. The whole water thing is a myth. The fact is they kettle boil them. So what they do, and when I was in high school,
He's passionate about this.
bagels are a serious thing, man. In high school, when I was like 11th grade or 10th grade, I worked in a bagel place, and so they make them and you kettle boil them. So it's just you put them in there's these huge kettles, and if you ever go in Bodo's, you look in the back and you see them.
Oh, yeah.
In
I know
there.
what you're
So
talking
they
about.
kettle boil them for a certain period of time. Typically when they float, then they put them on their board and then they bake them. That's the difference. You know, you can make a bagel and not kettle boil them, and what happens with that is that's when it gets more bready, right? It gets more holes in it, and the density is in it. You're not taking me serious. This is this is serious stuff.
Harry just literally put a link on the feed from the Bodo's Bagels website. And on this link, and this is the good thing about the show and people are putting it over here on IG, is on their website, it says authentic New York water bagels.
Correct. So they're not bringing the water in. They're kettle boiling them, people.
Okay, all right. Your son-in-law is saying they're bringing the water in.
But he likes to bust chops, so.
Okay, he's chop busting.
Oh, yeah, well, there's two things. Bagels and busting chops. And if you don't do either one of them, a little bit of pizza in the middle.
Then you're not doing it right.
You're not doing it right.
You're not doing it right.
That's like eating pizza with a knife and a fork. But anyway.
How's your Q1 outlook looking for real estate?
It's interesting. I think pizza. Got to put pizza in the middle. That's what we need. I'm actually, for lunch, I'm going to go grab a pizza from Dino's. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do. Take a picture.
Will do.
And we'll put it on the Instagram and give
Sure.
you credit.
Oh,
Seriously, you should.
okay, will do.
And Dino would be happy to see you.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it, actually. Actually, I feel pretty excited about it, the Q1 market. As we've been predicting, you're starting to see this, but it's super anemic, but there's a little bit more product coming on, a little bit more product coming on, a little bit more product coming on. And it's coming on in, ones and twos and threes and fours. You're not seeing this huge, 170 units or something like that coming in. So I feel good about it. I mean, everything that I'm reading, everything that I'm showing is the interest rates are just, I'm stuttered when I try to say this, that the interest rates are projected to stay at this rate for the foreseeable future. It just, Quentin or whoever was watching, I've never heard of that. Never seen it, never heard of it. That's kind of where I was going with this. We're both the buyers and the sellers are up at the same level as far as that. Because usually what happens is if it's a seller's market, right, buyers are struggling, right? It's trying to find buyers to buy and all this kind of great stuff. It's struggling. But right now, with as far as a real estate agent is concerned, right now with the interest rates on, there's people in the pipeline. I want to buy, and there's people in the selling end of it. I want to sell, and what we do is we make marriages for a living, right? We're yentas. Right?
Yeah, you're matchmakers.
We're yentas.
Yeah.
But the short answer to that is I'm seeing it go on. I'm going to use your words a little bit. I really think this quarter we're in with COVID and confidence is going to take a hit, right? We're going to start. I'm fortunate. I get these Virginia Department of Health updates daily, and the counts are going up. It's just factual, right? So I think there's going to be a little bit of that going on, and then once second quarter, third quarter, this vaccine. What's that word you use? Ubiquitous.
Once the vaccine becomes ubiquitous and widely available.
Yeah, if one of these days I'm going to look that word up.
Ubiquitous means widely available.
It's a joke.
Everywhere.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Then I really believe third, fourth quarter, maybe closer to fourth, it's just going to be nuts. There's going to be product coming on, but you're going to start seeing this slow product, and it's just not me. Is when you start listening to Dr. Yoon, Dr. Sturtevant, some of these really smart people. I'm just regurgitating what they're talking about. It's going to come in. That's our market.
All right, so let me ask you.
So
this
I think.
question.
Okay,
go, sure.
So I think where Harry is,
Connecticut.
going to be very different than.
How so? What's Connecticut?
Well,
What do you think?
I don't know the market. I haven't really looked at it, a great thing, but I think you're going to start seeing a leveling off of value there. And, as you said earlier, so technically, certain people have to go into the city to work, right? So they've got to be there. But if I'm a hedge fund guy,
why would you live in a place that has obscene tax base? In a house that's half the size that you can get down south,
but then, but because maybe you want to be by family and stuff like that. So there's always that end of it. So it's not all about numbers and it's not all about stuff. It's emotional too.
Touche.
To that stuff. But you're right. So we're going to start. We in our marketplace, and we're seeing it. And I've mentioned this 100 times before. I've seen this happen. So this to you is new. Maybe to some other people it's new. But the numbers were different. Maybe the locations were different, but they were leaving out of these northeast marketplaces, particularly in the second half of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s. They were able to get a little bit more from the house, and they were trying to get the hell out of there because it wasn't such a good place. And they came down here. They sold, like my parents, right?
Like Monticello.
They bought their house, whatever, many years ago. They sold it, cashed out, bought a house. The numbers were different. Bought a house and put the rest of the cash in the bank or whatever they did with it. So
that's exactly what I want my in-laws to do.
Yeah, and they'll do it eventually. But they need to get to that comfort level, right? They need to get to that point that they're ready to make that move because it's we just, even though Quentin says we're not talking real estate, we really were.
Yeah, real estate is life. Life is real estate.
Bagels, pizza, delis. That's a big thing. There's a comfort in that, right? I know, Harry, I can roll out of Manhasset and get what I want. It's comfort. I know I'm comfortable with it. Particularly, and you are not there, but I'm beginning of next week, I'm going to be a whole bunch closer to 60 than I've ever been in my life.
His birthday is Monday, guys. How about an early happy birthday for the distinguished gentleman, Keith Smith, who is turning, I think you just said.
Well, no.
Are you turning? How old are you turning?
I'm not going to tell you, but I'm really close to 60.
Okay, why don't you tell us? Come on.
I'm not going to tell you. I want to be just a total pain in the ass to you.
Okay, so
and I don't want
we're going to call you 49.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make,
okay,
Robin,
okay,
Grasshopper, is that
Daniel's son.
There you go. Wax on, wax off. It's much harder for me to make a decision. When you get to a certain age point, it's harder to do that. And just to make it more, kind of relatable on that kind of thing, I bought this in-house trainer thing for my bike, right? Okay. Inside thing on it. It took me 4 months to figure out what I wanted.
What?
I've never in my whole life, and Harry's watching, he knows me well enough to know this. I would have, okay, great, buy it and let's move on. I researched the hell out of it. I would have never, ever have done that 10 years ago. Now and one of the items that we'll talk about if we ever get to the 7 items is, don't overthink something. And I just overthought the hell out of it. And I just said, this is ridiculous. And I ended up going to Blue Ridge, spoke to Jay Lee over there, and said, tell me what to buy. And she said, buy this. And I went, okay. So I 4 months vacillated over researching on the internet, what's the right unit, what's the wrong unit, what I want to do, and what's the decibels, and what's this, and what's that. And she just turned to me and goes, you idiot, just buy this one. I'm like, okay. That was it. So my point is, at a certain age, and I'm just talking, I suspect your in-laws about my age. I would.
No, older.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, well, you never tell me how old you are. How old are you?
So if they're somewhere between mid-50s and the mid-60s, we're the same age.
Okay. Fair. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, that same kind of generational thinking and all that stuff. Yeah. So if you're past double nickels,
You and Tim, and Lauren, what do you think about this? You and Tim, very similar. You would love Tim.
Okay. So
Tim would love you.
Yeah, I guarantee you, we'd end up talking for an hour and then go, what did we just talk about?
Right.
Yeah.
You guys would love each other.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to save the 7 things for...
Your buddy Ray wants your take on the best pastrami in Charlottesville. That's Ray Cadell. He said, Keith, what's your best pastrami in Charlottesville? You were talking about pastrami.
So can I be honest about that?
You're going to say none.
None.
Yeah. I know where you go for the pastrami. Tell them the place you go to in Richmond.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now that's about as close at Pearlie's.
Pearlie's, yeah.
So I'll literally...
Jewish restaurant. It's fantastic.
It's a Jewish restaurant, and if you have an opportunity, somebody Google it. It is absolutely hands down.
Yeah, it's good.
Worth the trip. When we fly in and out of.
That's where you get your matzo ball soup.
That's where I get my matzo ball soup. That's what I'll do.
So you'll say Pearlie's for pastrami for Ray?
You got to drive.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half.
But it's worth it. The sandwich is huge. And he said, I flew by 60. By the way, Keith, there's nothing to it.
I know that.
Yeah. I just wanted to let
I'm
you.
just busting your chops. I'm not going to tell you how old I am.
I'm hoping my dad buys in Lake Monticello like you guys did. That was put on the feed.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to help them. We've been there since '87. We love it. But it's for us. But there's great places. We're helping people the same age.
Offer some perspective on the boating opportunities. This person wants to know.
Oh, great. So I've got a 22-foot center console.
He has a boat.
I have a boat.
Yeah, so he's speaking from perspective.
Yep. But I only really put it in there to flush out the salt water from the bay out of my engines. So it's great. It's if you like the water ski, it's perfect. I've got it trailered next to I trail it. It's parked next to my house. And if I want to go on a Sunday afternoon and buzz around the lake with a cocktail, we buzz around the lake, and or you want to go into a cove. And I don't do freshwater fishing. I only do saltwater fishing. So they tell me it's off the charts from bass and stuff like that. But what we'll do is in the middle of the summer on Sunday, we'll go into one of the coves. Because the water doesn't move. Just dive out of the boat, go for a swim, get back into the boat, and just hang out, have a cocktail. We love it. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, when COVID's over, I will bring you and your family out there.
Quentin, I thought there might be a way to connect sandwiches with new construction. Quentin,
well, actually, there is, right?
I think you connected it very well.
Well, there is, because that's
Ray is going to Pearlie's today.
Good for you, Ray.
He said, do
When
they
you
have
going?
curbside delivery? He said, based on your recommendation, I'm going to Pearlie's
time
today.
out. When is he going?
When are you going, Ray? I'm
Because
sure he's going soon.
Because I got an afternoon off.
There you go. Connect off the show. He's going to Richmond based on your suggestion on this show.
You will.
I'll second it. I've been there.
Yeah. So Ray, I'll tell you what. I'll send pictures of pizza. He sends picture of a sandwich.
Because you're going to Dino's.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Dino's. Yeah.
It's going to go to Dino's.
But
I'm sure they have curbside, Ray.
yeah, you look online. I know they do because we recently just did it. So you can get that.
Awesome.
So the sandwich in the new construction is a good tie because, back in the day when I used to frame and swing hammers and actually build things, that was the day, man. That was lunchtime was it, right? Yeah, you got your sandwich. So we make our own Italian deli sandwiches at the house.
So do we. Well, so does my wife.
Yeah.
And she makes them to the point where it's like, this is how a sandwich is supposed to be made.
That's exactly right.
And she fixes it to where it's like.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We ought to get together to trade some sandwich things, but
our sandwich bill from the grocery store, she goes, let me get the ingredients for a sandwich. I'm like, all right, that's fine. We'll get
$50.
Dude, it's like $38.
$50, yeah. Where do you get your bread?
Wherever Mrs. Miller gets
Where does Mrs. Miller get her
She loves
bread?
MarieBette.
Yeah.
She really legitimately
So
does.
that's what we'll do.
I'm getting her MarieBette this weekend.
Yeah.
She loves the croissant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? The pretzel croissant?
Oh, yeah. But she puts a sandwich on top of it.
No. But that's just like one of her favorite things.
So
to eat.
The trick to a decent sandwich, amongst other things,
is the bread.
Is the bread.
Yeah, dude, because if you have all the fixings in the sandwich and the bread crumbles,
well,
I get pissed.
Look, it's like anything.
It's the bread. And I like the boar's head meats.
Well, so we only do boar's head.
Yeah. So if you get a good bread that can hold the boar's head meats and
We're getting that off a bit of a tangent here in the real side, but so one of my pet peeves, and now I only go to a certain place. Actually, this is the reason I go to Foods of All Nations.
For the meats?
For my boar's head.
Well, other places sell boar's head.
No. You don't let me finish.
Sorry.
The difference is how you slice it.
Well, how do you like it?
Oh, it has to be thin. It has to be paper thin.
That's how I like it. I basically say, what's it called? There's a terminology for that. I basically say the same. It's like slice of paper thin, so it like melts in your mouth. But there's a phrase for that in the deli.
So I literally tell the deli, if it's somebody that has never sliced for me before, and this is part of this whole New Yorker thing, right? Because I used to work a machine. I know how to work a slicer. I said, set it at 0. And they'll look at me and they'll go, oh, you know what you're talking about. So you got to set it at 0, and don't ever go to some place that has a machine slicer. It's got to be a guy or a gal or a person, and you got to look them in the face, and you got to say, this is how I want it. It's a thing, man.
Oh, I know it's
You're
a
smiling
thing.
at me.
I know it's a thing. I'm very passionate about it as well.
And it.
What's your favorite bread to use?
Well, so I'm a huge MarieBette fan. I like their multigrain bread. In fact, over there, I got 2 loaves of it. And, hand slice it. And it's just, that's what I love. Their bread, and their sponsors also, but their bread is as close, if not equal to New York, it's also equal to what we would buy in Europe. What are you laughing at?
Your son-in-law, Harry Tyson.
Hey, Harry, get to work, will you?
Harry said, you guys need to start eating before the show. Keith is hungry. Give the man some food.
I did, actually.
Give the man some food.
I ate. Look, yeah. We'll talk this, let me see, on Tuesday, I guess we'll do the 7 rules.
Oh, yeah, what's the plan Tuesday? Let's tease that, and then
I
give
don't
me
know.
a plan for the weekend. What do you got? You and Yonna got the turkey sag cooking still.
We got the turkey sag listing open. I think Yonna's doing an open house or not. She hasn't shared that with me yet, but yeah, we're out of listings, right?
Get this man some listings.
We're out of listings. We've got buyers.
Yeah.
We need some property to sell, and
They have buyers, guys.
Yeah, without doubt. Everybody has buyers.
Sure.
And we need inventory and to move on. But so on Tuesday, I was actually thinking of a guest, but we might move that guest to Friday and talk about these 7 rules that Yonna and I live by, and we keep them posted in our desk. Yonna actually, I don't know if you can do Yonna's drawing. Thank you. So Yonna's an artist, and so she drew these 7 rules.
She has many talents.
She does, yeah. Putting up with me would be one of them.
Watching your show.
Watching the show.
She's watched start to
Oh, no.
finish.
I get critiqued.
Oh, you do?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I hope the critiques have been good. Because
I only want good.
come into your own as a broadcaster.
I don't know about that.
Dude, from here?
Well, yeah. Well, I was 0.
Oh, you weren't 0, but you've
Oh, no.
come a long way.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Now
no.
you're like legit.
No,
You are legit. You
Okay.
forget about this stuff. The first time you were like,
well, every show I start that way. You know that.
no, I don't think that's true.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
no, it is.
Since
Yeah.
you've gone from the large to the small, it's made a huge difference on your start.
The coffee you're
Yeah.
talking about.
It's made a huge, have you noticed that? It's made a huge difference on your start.
Brother, that's exactly why I'm doing it. He's talking about Instagram. He's talking about I've gone from
A large one to a small. It's
small
made a
cup.
huge impact.
Yeah, but what you don't know
What?
is I have him do a double shot. So I got a double shot of espresso and just a little less milk. That's all.
Okay, that's made a big difference.
Less milk. It's not the espresso, it's less milk. That's
Right.
what's making the difference.
Because the first 2 minutes you were like,
It happens.
I know, happens to all of us.
But yeah, so, I just, like I said, show no 127. In 100 years, I never thought we'd be doing this.
I know.
So I'm honored. I'm
Laura Navarez, one of your best shows yet. We
Really?
have you on the big screen. Thank you for giving us a laugh this morning.
We're on the big screen.
On the big screen.
Wow.
That's awesome. Where are you watching, Laura? If you could put that in the feed, we would love to know where you're watching. We don't need your address or anything. Just let us know where you're watching.
Let me see if this joke falls flat.
More comments coming in.
Our heads are big enough as it is. Now they're on the big
Well, I mean, I can put you on the big. You want to see? You want to go on the big screen right here?
No.
I can put you on the big screen.
I don't want to scare
right.
myself over there.
Carol, good bread and a sandwich is the foundation.
Without doubt.
Skip on the bread. Don't bother with me.
Skip on the bread.
Skimp.
Absolutely.
Skimp. You skimp on the bread, I don't want it. It's basically what you're
But
saying.
who is that now?
Carol.
I think Carol's from up north, isn't she?
No, Carol Thorpe. You know who Carol Thorpe is?
Oh,
She watches
yeah,
the show
got
all
it,
the time.
got it,
She basically says, don't skip on the bread.
Yeah. Okay. See, look at that. My broadcasting skills went right down.
Multiple people are saying sourdough is their favorite.
Yeah, I like their sourdough is outstanding. But if I really want to treat myself to a sandwich, which I tend to do,
I like the French baguette.
I like the French baguette, but not for a sandwich.
Really? That's my go-to.
No. That's perfect for a little bit of brie,
Or some cheese, or some soup.
a little brie, a little soup.
You don't like the
a
French
little
baguette?
bit of pop, little
Wow,
bit.
you feel like the outer crust is too tough to crack through?
We
That
would-
must be it, the
we're-
outer crust.
Outer crust is real estate, isn't it?
You don't, do you not like the outer crust on the French baguette?
No.
How do you not like the French baguette?
No. You're putting words in my mouth, Mr. Miller. I didn't say I didn't like it. I love
Your
it.
wife says you make the best sandwiches.
And you know what? For 35 years, she's been telling me that.
She just said it right
So
there.
if I ever fail on my sandwich making skills, I think it's over.
I'm taken aback that the French baguette is not your go-to.
Okay, it is not. And there's a very specific reason for that.
Please.
So when you get home and have a conversation with your wife,
Okay.
and you talk about the Italian bread that heroes are made on,
Okay.
it's very different. So a baguette is a French product, as you know, and it's designed very differently. It's very narrow and thin and crusty. So the Italian bread back home is a little wider.
Sure, and the outer shell is softer.
No.
Yes.
No.
The French baguette outer is crunchier than the Italian.
Okay, maybe by this much.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to mislead people. It's not soft. It's a little. It has to be crusty. It has to be crunchy to make a good Italian hero. It has to have a little. We should get Joe on it.
We should get Joe on here. Have you had the Danny sub at Wegmans?
Yeah.
And multiple people are saying Wegmans also kettle boils their bagels.
And they could be. It could
Multiple
be.
people have said that on the feed, Instagram and Facebook.
I never bought them there, so I.
Okay, they kettle boil their saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's the
And
only.
they're in New York, so that makes sense.
There's the only way to do it. That's right. They're from upstate, I think.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. Is kettle boil. Everything else is, it's just a cake.
You know the French baguette is crunchier than the Italian.
I'm gonna bring it when.
We should do a taste test here.
Know what I'm gonna do? If is Harry still watching?
Harry, are you still watching?
So when the blessed event happens, because I'm gonna have to go see my new granddaughter.
Yeah, which is your oldest daughter's
My oldest
second daughter. No, excuse me. Your oldest daughter's second child, first daughter.
So
Not your youngest.
so when COVID is over, and Harry, as we refer to him, Big Harry, because there's Little Harry and Big Harry.
Well, he has a beard.
Well, he's a mountain man or something. I'm gonna make sure he's here, and the three of us are gonna be here, and then you two wise asses gonna have an hour just to pick me apart, and that's it.
love that.
And then everything is done.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh God, you guys would tear me a new whatever.
Someone just said the Danny sub disappoints. That's and they're saying dude, we're onto something with bread.
Yeah.
Semolina bread?
Semolina bread. There you go.
Semolina bread.
So who said that?
Semolina bread. Lauren, semolina bread?
So that's your wife.
Yeah.
She knows what she's talking about.
Semolina bread.
So semolina. Do I have to ask Lauren? Should I educate you?
Please, she wants me to, I mean,
So
if educating is do whatever what Lauren says, that's what she wants you to do.
There you go. So semolina. Focus. Pay attention to me.
Yeah,
This is important.
There's a lot of
This is
comments
important.
coming. I'm sorry.
Semolina is a type of flour. So it's a little yellow. It's a little yellower. It's not white. And it says semolina. It has a different taste. So what I was going to say, when the blessed event happens, and I'm able to go up and see my new granddaughter.
First granddaughter.
Would be my first granddaughter, exactly. We only have two,
Right.
one boy, one girl.
Sure.
50 chance of getting it right. I'm gonna do two. See, the problem is you can't really.
It doesn't carry.
The bread I can do.
Okay.
But if I was to get a hero and bring it down, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some bread, just like we did with the king cake. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to make us some sandwiches. Matter of fact, we should do it live.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Look at this, executive producer.
Oh, my God.
Screw real estate. We're going to make sandwiches.
Okay.
We'll make a real, maybe even get your wife on board, and we'll show you how to make a sandwich.
Okay.
And once you bite into that semolina bread, it should be a little crusty on the top, not hard that you
Not
break.
French baguette crusty.
Correct. You're 1,000% right. There's two different, but it's not Wonder Bread soft.
Okay, I know.
Right.
It's not,
So it's
bread,
important. This is
the
important.
Wonder Bread couldn't hold that sandwich.
Well,
It would collapse.
I just got chills thinking
Right,
about it.
I know. And that's like the worst thing ever. What's worse than a sandwich collapsing? Nothing.
No, what's worse than
Nothing,
putting a
Jerry,
sandwich?
nothing.
Nothing, Jerry. So the reality of it is the bread does make it. There's a funny thing, and you will never seen it here. And if your wife is still watching,
She is, and so is your wife. And your son-in-law.
so there is a bread that I've never seen down here, and I'll bring something back. It's called Jewish rye. It's a little different than rye bread, and I've never figured out exactly how they make it, and maybe Harry knows. It has a little bit of cornmeal in it. It's really good.
I want to clarify something. Carol is obviously, thank you, Harry, for this, from Port Washington, Long Island.
Yeah.
She says 3 delis on one street in Port, Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just cleared the.
I knew it was Port Washington.
Okay, I
didn't want to correct you and
Thank you.
And
You should have.
And the New Yorkers would get all worked up.
Yeah.
And, we don't.
The New Yorkers are getting worked up. Right?
They're getting well. That means they're happy.
Okay, that means they're happy.
That means they're happy.
Okay, so my wife's happy all the time.
It's like being a Marine.
That means my wife's happy all the time.
It's like being a Marine. You were. I think it was Lee on the show yesterday, right?
Yeah, Lee Albertson.
Yeah, he did a great job.
He did.
Fellow jarhead, fellow Marine. But when next time you ask him this question: what makes a happy Marine?
I will.
And
He's a smart dude.
And, very smart. But he'll know what that answer is.
Okay.
And
what makes a happy Marine?
What makes a
happy Marine? I'll remember that.
What makes a happy Marine?
Hey, today was fun.
It was fun. Tuesday, 7 rules of life.
Is that what seven rules of life Tuesday?
We want Yonnas and I's, and this is what we do. And we put them on both of our desks, and we look at them every morning, and we'll try to take a little bit of positive spin.
We need that.
We definitely need it.
Keith Smith, Yes Team Realtors, guys. Keith Smith, the Yes Team Realtors. On Tuesday, a big splash and a big announcement for Yes Realty Partners. Maybe a tease real quick?
Yeah, well, we officially turned you loose and your team loose. What day did we have that meeting? Wednesday?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes to yes.
Yes to, oh, look at you.
Yes to yes.
Are you a branding guy?
I am.
We're going to be officially releasing the Yes Realty Partners, so.
Monday, Tuesday next week. Get ready for that announcement.
Well, hold it. You promised me for my birthday on Monday.
You were trying to ramrod that down there, and I said Tuesday, but I'm going to try to deliver Monday. Because it's all about under-promising and over-delivering.
I don't want to hear that shit.
And not the alternative.
I don't want to hear that shit. Get it done on Monday.
Yes, sir. Judah Whitcar, Keith
Smith, I'm now following your wife's lead. Now I know how to deal with you. Took me a couple of years to figure it out.
I love it. I love it. You guys have a fantastic day. The I Love CVille show is next.
So one of the 7 rules is be nice to one another. Be kind. Get out there and be kind, man.
That's pretty fantastic. All right, guys. You have a good morning. Thank you kindly for joining us on Real Talk, presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Take care.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Or listening.
Take care. Good job, Judah.